Do you remember the times when it was cool to take out your Discman and pop in Anima of the State by Blink-182 just to feel a little more edgy in school? Or the times when you were the first in school to own an iPod and those white flathead earbuds were the coolest status symbols around? Funny thing is, it's only when you are older that you actually kinda know what an Anima is. Today's episode will take you back to those good old days of being a cool kid. Welcome to the Super Chunk Show. The item in question today is Bgvp's Dx7, a flathead earphone or earbud. Flathead earphones took a back seat when in-ears came onto the scene because in-ears provided isolation. They were the default supplied earphones back then when IEMs was not even a thing. But one thing in-ears can't do is deliver that realistic soundstage compared to open models like open back headphones or flatheads. Flathead earphones are the middle ground balancing portability, comfort, and wide staging. Of course, there will be a few trade-offs when it comes to isolation. As such, I only do fancy flatheads for specific situations, such as being in the office. Kicking things off with an unboxing, the box of the Dx7 is rather simple. Mine comes in a white sleeve with the all-important high-res audio logo on the top left. Some say with that logo there, you can actually hear sound so clear that you can actually see the sound waves. Inside it, you then have a really cool artwork of the Bgvp logo with some flowers on it. Below that is a white case that consists all of the good things, including the earbuds themselves. You also get an alternate filter which you can swap out. Pretty cool for a flathead earbud, as no one has did this before in this genre. Apart from that, you get a box consisting of an interchangeable cable that has friction-based interchangeable plugs. You get a 3.5mm and a 4.4mm. Lastly, you also get some sponges or foams. Some of you might need to use them. Personally, due to my ear shape, I have to use the sponge, otherwise they will fall out a little too easily. Next up, build quality. Gone are the days where flathead earphones are made of suspect quality. The Dx7 here is a whole new story featuring beautiful aluminum that has a mirror finish on them and feels much better than the cheapy stuff from before. The nozzle of the earbud is beautifully designed. Bgvp took quite a bit of effort and it shows. It looks like a squished Venn diagram that is actually pretty beautifully polished. The chassis of the earbud allows you to swap filters. You will be provided with a silver and a blue filter that has some sonic differences. Inside the chassis is a 14.2mm carbon composite dynamic driver that uses CCAW voice coils and a N52 magnets. The diaphragm has 3 layers consisting of PU, carbon, and PET. It comes with a MMCX termination. Yes, I get it, it isn't 2-pin, but at least you get to swap cables on them. It's nice that you get such a function on an earbud. Cable is very manageable and not super tangly, which is rather nice. Sound, when it comes to flathead earphones, there are quite a multitude of factors affecting sound. Most of it affects it quite drastically. So in this review, I'll preface it by stating my setup of this earphone. Firstly, I use full foam and the blue filter for this review. It is then mated to my Lotu Paul Gold Touch and Luxury and Precision W4 for my dongle. As mentioned, there are 2 different filters provided and I will be telling you the difference between them. So for the silver filter, the Dx7 adopts a sweeter presentation, making it a bit more mid-centric with slightly more mid-bass. I'd say these are the filters for folks who enjoy lusher vocals. With the blue filter on, the Dx7 renders things with more bass and treble at the same time, making it a more V-shaped presentation. I found music to be more spacious with the blue filter on. Also, foam does affect sound as well. Using full foam, you cut treble and increase the perception of bass. Those donut type foams are in between full foam and no foam. It gives a bit more treble compared to full foam, while no foams just give you the most treble. The thing with flatheads is that they inherently do not offer any isolation, but in return, they provide you with levels of soundstage that IEMs can only dream of. I like listening to flatheads inside the office because of the lack of isolation, as it allows me to listen to my colleagues if they want to ask me anything or just want to annoy me. Also, as per its open design, it has sub-bass, but it fades fast due to the open nature. Starting off with bass, as mentioned, this is an open design. You get sub-bass, but they fade fast, leaving you to hear more mid-bass. Bass of the DX7 is very clean and has excellent transient response. Resolution here is also more realistic than in-ears as it renders them in an open manner. You won't experience the same fullness as IEMs, but there is an airiness that can largely be appreciated. I found bass to have good levels of texture and resolution as well. Dynamics are decent here, certainly not as dynamic as IEMs, but nonetheless very decent. Despite bass being represented mostly by mid-bass, the DX7 isn't bloaty and is overall very clean. Mid-range. There is a very grand sense of air in the mid-range as per its open design. Vocals sound very clear and concise. I'd say they almost have a crystalline texture to them, smooth with good levels of resolution and beautifully airy. Instruments have a very good sense of air and spaciousness in the sound as well, making them beautiful to listen to. Listening to Symphonic Overture by James Barnes was exhilarating. Through flatheads such as the DX7, you get a very good sense of realism as if you are at the concert itself. Treble extension is good on the DX7. I also found that they are very nicely balanced with the mid-range and avoid the trap of being overly bright. Metal percussive instruments have nice bite but are never harsh. Also, as Bgvp provided you with foams as well, should they be a bit too much, you can always add more to taste. Soundstage, when it comes to width and height, more than any IEMs that I have reviewed in the past. It does an exceptional job when it comes to width and height. The openness of the DX7 allows it to have lifelike staging, and when you close your eyes to listen to some soundtracks, you will feel as though you are transported to the concert itself. Depth and positioning. Depth is above average as I do feel that it could do with a tad bit more dynamics, but it's certainly more than enough. Positioning is also excellent as the DX7 has very good treble, allowing for pinpoint positioning. Next up, some things I like and dislike on the DX7. So the main thing that I like on the DX7 is staging. It provides a beautifully open sound that IEMs can only dream of. It sounds beautifully spacious, providing you with a very good sense of space, especially for orchestral music. It's certainly just made for that and it's perfect. Some things that I do not like. So the thing about the chassis is that it is so glossy. Now I get that it's very beautiful, but it becomes a bit of a fingerprint magnet. But I guess that's what you get when you have such a beautiful glossy finish. You just have to accept it. Also, the foams are quite hard to put on. Yeah. And finally, now I'm gonna rate the DX7. So when it comes to bass, sub-bass fades quite quickly, but it's due to the nature of this style of it being open. I think that the DX7 still did an excellent rendering of bass in a earbud form that is very refined sounding. So this gets a solid 7.5. Mid-range again is beautifully rendered. It has presence and yet airy. Again, very strong showing, so it's a 7.5. Treble, it's very refined on the DX7 and you are able to tweak the levels of treble through the use of various foams. Another solid 7.5. Resolution again is great. It will sound better if you're listening in a quiet room. It gets a solid 7.5. Now, Soundstage. This is the star of the show as it is just so darn wide and tall sounding and it's so precise as well. It's Soundstage, it's something that IEMs can only dream of. It gets a solid 9. And finally, when it comes to the enjoyment factor, I really enjoyed the DX7. So all in all, I would say it deserves a strong A. It's a very good earbud and for very specific users, it is just perfect. If you want a earbud to use in the office, this is a great one. And finally, in conclusion, the DX7 is an excellent earbud and great for folks who are feeling a little jaded from the usual IEM releases. The DX7 will provide you with a very different listening experience and harkens back to the days on the bus listening to music with my friends, although it wasn't so fun to only listen to one channel, like only the left side because I'm lending them the right side. But let me enjoy this in rose-tinted glasses for a bit. Thank you guys for watching the Superchunk Super Audio Show. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the Superchunk Super Audio Show. If you guys have already subscribed to the channel, you guys are freaking fantastic people. And some say that if you already did that, you deserve a chocolate pie. And with that said, thank you guys so much. Hope to see you guys soon.